What's good, ladies and gentlemen, to the final finale rant of Celebrity Big Brother US. Y'all have been waiting for this moment. I took yesterday off because I wanted y'all to miss me a little bit, okay? We gonna talk that shit tonight, and we gonna put a lot of motherfuckers on blast tonight, okay? So parental advisory, not safe for work, all that good shit for whoever is wondering and all that other shit, all them acronyms, put them down. Because I am your humble host, Dave Smith, Pretty Boy Smitty, Protocol Paul, Pearl Game Ultra, Smith Dog Trill, all of the above on that ISAT test and that ACT. You know what it is. And we're back for another rant. This one will be entitled Welcome to Rig Brother, because I've been vindicated. I've been vindicated, ladies and gentlemen. Dare I say I'm a rant god? Dare I say it? I think I'm a rant god. All these other channels trying to be like me, take a back seat, coach. You feel me? Because you're dealing with the creme de la creme. If I gotta toot my little horn a little bit, I'ma toot it, okay? Toot, toot, beat, beat, coach. Okay, shout outs to Star in the morning. But at the end of the day, we're gonna break down this finale, ladies and gentlemen, to the T. And you know, I saw some shit during tonight's finale episode that may have gone past you. So I'm going to bring all of them up, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not going to let you down. And towards the end, I will be asking questions, so stick around. And I will be taking questions, so stick around. This is Recency Bias Radio, where no one is safe from criticism. So let's get it popping early and often. So the first thing I want to bring up, ladies and gentlemen, the first thing. Why the hell did they go out of their way to make this finale include 5 people if they weren't going to give us a single live competition? In my book, it's no different than when we have a normal final 3 and then they pre-record the first 2 comps and then wait for the last one to show us. It basically was the same exact thing. They showed us the HOH of the final 5. They showed us the veto of the final 5, but the only live competition they showed us was the final HOH. So in reality, at its most simple form, this was the same exact formula. They didn't change a thing. See, in the last rant, I was willing to support this new shit because I thought they would show us some live shit from the final 5. Then maybe the 2-hour special part of it will feel like something that's interesting. But most people were already spoiled that Marissa didn't win veto. So we all knew what was going to happen in the first fucking hour. So really, you could have sped that bullshit up. And I'm going to break down all this shit, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to leave no stone unturned because this is the last rant y'all get from this season of Big Brother Celebrity. So trust me, I am in no rush to leave you all. I am in no rush. This could take all night, baby. This could take all night. I'm going to talk that shit, though, okay? So first thing we need to discuss. First thing, Ross. Ross. Didn't it feel like this entire finale was the Ross coronation ceremony? It was like, oh, LGBT. Everyone was so thirsty to reward him with the title. But remember what I told y'all early. I told y'all this shit is rigged for Marissa. You feel me? And I'll admit it. I was buying some bullshit. Towards the end of this episode, I thought Marissa pulled a BB-16 Cody. I thought she took the one motherfucker she shouldn't have took to win the game. And honestly, if you really look at it and break it down, if she takes Ari, she may have lost this game. I think she was aware of the bullshit. Because everything people were willing to give Marissa credit for sitting next to Ross, she wouldn't have been able to get those same kudos sitting next to Ari, who actually played the straight up game. And on top of that, when you truly break it down, Ross made all of the moves. Even in Marissa's speeches, she was giving Ross all the credit. It felt like she was trying to give him the win. It felt like she didn't even want to win. By picking him in the first place over Mark, it felt like she didn't want to win. And I'm going to call bullshit early, ladies and gentlemen. Marissa, you was talking all that shit all season about wanting to make sure a woman won. I'm here for the girls. And then you get to the end and you don't take Ari? You vote Omarosa out and then you don't take Ari? If I was a betting man, and it's in the final 5, 3 women, 2 men, there is no excuse for 2 women to not be at the end if I was pro-feminism. But it's interesting. Production has fed her information the entire game, insider information, to constantly allow her to be in the realm of everything that is popping socially, which leads to her being in every alliance. And then she's right next to Ross, who's truly conducting everything. And you know what? I kind of do feel bad for Ross. And people were trying to say, oh, well, don't get it twisted. If production wants anything, they want Omarosa to win this season because Omarosa equals the best ratings. Look, did y'all notice how when Omarosa got eliminated, Julie went out of her way to say, hey, guys, she'll be on the talk tomorrow. Did Julie say that about anyone else that got eliminated? Nope. Because Omarosa equals views. Omarosa equals ratings. It's interesting. They'll use the black person to make money, but they don't want to make enough money off them to see them as the winner holding the trophy. Y'all notice that? It's almost as if she tried to give Omarosa a consolation prize in her mind by saying, at least you'll be on the talk with a whole bunch of nothing-ass bitches, including me. You feel me, coach? You feel me? I thought it was quite condescending of Julie Chen after someone gets eliminated to make it seem like the talk is some fucking trophy after they almost won Celebrity Big Brother Season 1. That's not a damn trophy, Julie, okay? Let's keep it all the way real. I'm going to call a spade, ladies and gentlemen. But let's get into Ross fully, because I'm going to get into a lot of shit. I'm on my scorched earth theory shit tonight, okay? Hopefully there's no lags. CBS, get off my dick. Cast me, okay? We're going to start off like that and stop rigging shit. If I can predict who's going to be at the end of every season I do rants, then clearly, in the smallest form, y'all need to at least hire me for your production team. Because damn, y'all are this predictable? Y'all making this much money and y'all can't at least telegraph y'all moves a little bit less? Something wrong with y'all. Something really wrong with y'all. But let's get to Ross. Let's get to Ross, ladies and gentlemen. Let's not lose sight of the strategy. Let's not lose sight, okay? So let's start off. I told y'all specifically, the only way for him and Marissa to make the Final Four is if Ross or Marissa won the Final 5 HOH. Didn't I say that? And what happens? We get an HOH competition that looks like some fake-ass Winter Olympics bullshit. Let's call a spade a spade. You mean to tell me Ross is the last person to last? Hell no, okay? That shit was rigged from the damn jump, okay? And it's a damn shame that Ross can win the Final 5 HOH and still perform in the Final 4 HOH. And yet Omarosa, someone who wins a double eviction because she had to or else she would have been sent home, doesn't get to perform in the Final 5? If this is all finale night, ladies and gentlemen, shouldn't she be allowed to perform too? That's the first beginning of CBS showing their cards early in the game because Omarosa was the only person who was smart enough to disband the 2 of them. Ari, at the end of the day, she likes both of them. Mark, at the end of the day, he likes both of them. Omarosa was the only person who could have given us the finale we deserved. And that's why they made sure Ross would win that HOH. You mean to tell me, and I'm going to call out Mark, because I've been defending Mark a lot lately. Now, recently, I kind of thrown him under the bus. But in this one, he's finna get this work. Mark, you mean to tell me Ross's family is more important than yours? A fucking letter? We really tripping over a damn letter? This ain't Survivor where you in a fucking auction willing to give up all the money you would have got a damn steak and some fries for a damn letter. We ain't talking about that. We talking about literally standing up on sleds. You got, or skis, whatever the fuck. You got Ross out here like, Mark, do we have a deal? What's going on? Please. And it's interesting. The same people who loved Omarosa for interrupting James's deal in the first week. Remember this shit. I'm bringing this shit up. This is what people do not want to talk about, ladies and gentlemen. Remember in week 1 when Omarosa got the immunity, which I thought was rigged to begin with. So I'm being fair here. But remember, she got the immunity. And remember, James was competing with Shannon for the first HOH of this season. And remember, Omarosa was getting all involved in that deal, trying to bullshit it. Basically, just trying to shoot it down completely by saying, at the end of the day, Shannon, you're looking more straight than he is. Of course he's trying to make a deal with you because he won't last. She was shooting that shit down. Remember, all the same people who are mad at Omarosa tonight for shooting down this deal with Ross and Mark, they were the same motherfuckers who was loving this shit when Omarosa did it for Shannon. I want y'all to remember that in your minds, because this is how fickle Big Brother fans are. When a black woman is doing something to benefit the person they're rooting for, they love it. When she's doing the exact same thing, which is within her character and her caricature inside the game, now all of a sudden they don't like it anymore because it's against the gay guy. Y'all notice that? Now all of a sudden everyone's like, oh, Omarosa's doing too much. Omarosa's too loud. She's too big. Well, she was the same person in week 1 that she is in her final week in the game. If anything, you deserve to give her the respect that she has earned. But because you all are so hateful, you all refuse to give her the credit she deserves. And instead of hating on her for doing the one move that made sense for her game, mind you, but I mean, at the end of the day, Mark would have still put her and Ari up because he was more loyal to the two people who was working with him and James. Even though Mark is fucking stupid because Ross went out of his way to throw James to the wolves to save Marissa, who ended up winning the game anyway. So my thing is, Mark, do you not forget how James went home? But I think Mark deep down blames Omarosa for backdooring James instead of blaming Ross, who had the choice to save James, which is stupid. She had to make the better game decision as an HOH. Why does it seem like when Ross makes the better game decision, he takes no blood? When Omarosa makes the best decision as HOH, she takes all blood. What is that about? What is that about? And people say, oh, you're race baiting, Dave. Oh, white privilege gives you the authority to be able to call out someone for race baiting. Let's keep it all the way real, ladies and gentlemen. That's a bunch of hoopla, okay? And I'm going to call that bullshit out too. But at the end of the day, Omarosa has always been true to herself, okay? And that's why I learned to respect her as a player. Now, as a human being outside of this game, I'm not really checking for what the fuck she's doing, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not checking for it. I'm really not. But within the game, she was the hero, the champion we all deserved. Maybe all of us didn't want it, but she was who we deserved because she bucked the system. She constantly targeted production's puppets. She did every single thing in a normal season of Big Brother that we would give people like Becky credit for. Remember when Becky kept targeting Vanessa? All of a sudden, everyone was Becky fans. Oh, she's not scared. Oh, yeah. When Omarosa does it, it's like, oh, she's doing too much. She wants all the credit. Oh. See how fake people are? And see, I have to bring this up to show that at the end of the day, even though my takes may change, my takes naturally change based off the strategy of the game. So as the strategy changes or pivots, as Ross seemed to quote all day tonight, then I must pivot as a rant god. Let's keep it all the way real. Okay, ladies and gentlemen? But stop the bullshit. You guys go out of your way constantly. And shout outs to the people who've been commenting under my videos. There are people telling me that there are people going out of their way to block them just because they support Omarosa in group chats. And y'all tell me racism doesn't play a factor in this game? It's playing a factor in the superfans group chats. Of course it plays a factor in the damn game, but we're race baiting. Okay. Anyway, let's get back to Ross because I just thought I should mention that. I'm on scorched earth mode. I'm going to put all y'all motherfuckers on blast to the point where y'all all going to be butthurt. Y'all all going to be butthurt. Now, the people who've been rocking out with me from the beginning, y'all going to be like, ooh, let me get me a drink. You feel it, dig me, coach? But the ones that ain't, that may be new to this shit, oh, y'all going to feel some type of way and y'all might get the fuck out of here. And that's fine. Thank you for your view, bitch. All right, let's keep it going. Ross. Did y'all peep game how Julie went out of her way to imply that by Ross in a final 5 scenario, I got to drill this point home. In a final 5 scenario, when he's already aligned to Marissa and Mark, he really only has, and he was aligned to Ari, but let's be real. After he turned his back on Brandy, he really wasn't aligned to her anymore. And after turning his back on James, he shouldn't really be aligned to Mark. That's what I mentioned earlier, but Mark is a fucking idiot. So let's just backwalk all of that shit and let's think about this just from a strategic aspect, okay? Julie went out of her way to say Ross would make, and I quote, one of the biggest moves yet in the game by nominating 2 people that weren't aligned to him. How's that a big move? Huh? But by Julie saying that, she was showing the bias by production. You see that? They were willing to give Ross extra credit on a paper when he didn't do anything extra. All Ross did was nominate Omarosa and Ari, and he wanted Omarosa to go. How is this one of the biggest moves yet? How is this a big move at all? This was an expected move as soon as every superfan found out Ross won the HOH. So why is this being credited as somehow a game-breaking move? Because this entire episode was about coronating Ross. And I told you all, ladies and gentlemen, remember what I said? I said if Ross doesn't win the game, they're going to make sure if he doesn't win the game and Marissa wins it, they're going to make sure Ross wins AFP. If Ross wins it and Marissa doesn't, Marissa's going to win AFP. I am willing to guarantee you all that James and Shannon were lockstep for the top 2 votes, and they just switched in the third place person between Ross and Marissa based off who won. And based off who won, they put that person in the third place, and then they lie and say the third was the first. That's exactly what happened. If you really are trying to tell me that there were more people who were fans of Ross than there were of James and Shannon, you are full of shit. You are full of shit. Because a lot of people, even though they respect Ross's gameplay, I respect Ross's gameplay to an extent, even though I still think he's a pussy for not turning on Marissa. And in hindsight, he's really an idiot for not turning on Marissa. And now Marissa looks like a fucking genius because she never turned on Ross. See how that shit works? See how that shit works? That is why Ross should have turned on her. That's why he should have turned on her. Because he wins that final HOH. Who is he tied with at the end? He was tied with Mark. Mark takes him. He takes Mark. Okay? So at the end of the day, by getting rid of Marissa, I don't know for a fact that James wins that final HOH. This is all if, buts, and candied nuts. But at the end of the day, though, if it was 6-6 and it was between Ross and Marissa at the end, something tells me that they would have rigged that final HOH for Ross, just like they did for Marissa. And I'm going to break that shit down too, ladies and gentlemen, a little later, though. And I've been talking about it on Twitter, so what I'm going to say isn't really groundbreaking because I've already pretty much given away my take, but I had to because it was just irking me in my soul. But yeah, for Julie to say that nominating Omarosa and Ari is somehow a biggest move in the game yet showed some type of a bias. You know what I'm saying? And at the end of the day, if he makes the deal with Mark during the HOH not to put him up, and then he's already got to deal with Marissa, the choice was already made for him. It wasn't a big move at all, okay? Now, when Ross in his confessional goes out of his way to basically say, I was a fat gay kid. I'm not supposed to be here. I wasn't going to be picked for this show. Ross, there are plenty of fat gay kids that will never be on this show. You do know by being fat and gay instead of fat and black, you have a higher susceptibility and probability of being chosen, right? You do know that, right? Like, let's be honest. Was Lawan chosen because he was black? Or was he chosen because he was gay? People don't like to bring up these things, but it's the truth. It is the truth. See, a gay person could get chosen just because they're gay. A black person has to be exponentially unique to the rest of the black people for them to be chosen, because there's only one spot. And when you have so many people fighting for one spot, it creates a crabs in a barrel mentality. Now people are willing to throw each other out the way to get there. But when you have so many white people to get casted, you can afford to have a gay white guy. You can afford to have a Southern white guy who might be racist. You can afford to have an Eastern white guy who has some type of Boston accent. You can have another white guy that's from California. You feel what I'm saying? But a black guy, he has to fit all of those quotas within one guy. And they don't want to expand on the actual cast size to allow it to be fair for all races, because if they do that, they lose viewers. Viewers love seeing white people outnumber everyone else. And people don't want to admit this point. They would rather sweep it under the rug and say, it's based off population. It's based off population, man. You do know population-wise, in the world, there are more colored people than there are white people, right? But see, we've been all told that Someone's light skinned, so they're not truly black. Someone's dark skinned, so they're a little bit different. So they constantly divide all of us to separate us, to make us believe we're not all the same people. I mean, and I'm not trying to make this all political, but at the end of the day, when you see school shootings, there's a reason why black people don't shoot up schools, ladies and gentlemen. And this might rub some of y'all the wrong way, but black people are put in living conditions that are below the standard of the average white person. This makes the black kid want to go to school to escape their living conditions. So why the hell would they go to a school and shoot it up when that's the only escape they have from dilapidation, from poverty, from systematic white supremacy, from gentrification? Why would that black kid go and shoot up that school when that school is the only hope he has left in life? When that's the one place he could see his friends who relate to him. When that's the only place he could stay away from piss-filled hallways in the projects. Why would a black kid shoot up that school? Now, conversely, flip it. The majority of white kids that seem to be shooting up these schools are all well off with money. Enough money to know where the gun is in the house. Enough money to know the access code to the safe. You feel what I'm saying? And the same thing applies to this game. When a black person gets on this game, they have to constantly think of, you know what? I have an opportunity here. I can't waste it. I can't throw it away. But that's why they go out of their way to pick someone who's willing to throw it away. That's why the Omarosa archetype is something we've never seen until now. That's why I'm willing to put her up there with Danielle Reyes. Because if you take into account everything she was up against, they threw her only HOH. Well, no, she had two. But basically, they threw both of her HOHs out the fucking window. They threw them both out. Even though she got James out, they threw them both out the window because they didn't allow the target she wanted to go home. They made sure those veto competitions would be surrounded by controversy. They made sure. They made sure, ladies and gentlemen. And I am in no rush with this rant. So trust me, I am taking my time. I am slowing it down. And I'm going to hit you all with that type of shit because there's not going to be another one for this season. So this is what you get. And if you can't take it on face value as being factual, then maybe you're just in denial and you don't want to face the truth because you benefit from the white supremacy that's in front of us all. So that's another thing I want to mention. So to segue, to pivot off of Ross. My thing with Ari is, why did she blame Mark for sending Brandy home? This doesn't make any sense. Yes, Mark put Brandy up next to her. But Ari, if you didn't win veto, Brandy still goes home and you're probably happy. And at the end of the day, Marissa should have went home over Brandy. But guess what? The same person who made sure James went home over Marissa was the same person who made sure Brandy went home over Marissa. Who was it? Ross. And it's interesting because Ari didn't vote for Ross at the end, but she was still unwilling to put the onus of the blame on Ross. Now, that's a testament to Ross's social game that he can lie to motherfuckers that much to make them think, it wasn't my fault. How was I supposed to do this and do that? Blah, 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 blah. And people buy it. But it all goes back to my initial thesis. A gay man can apologize to a heterosexual woman and she will buy that shit because he can get emotional, he can cry, and then they go, oh. A straight man does the exact same thing and they go, what's his angle? Why is he this emotional? But then women swear that they want a man that's emotional. See that? See that? It just goes to show that Ross had an advantage in this game by being gay. So he can run around all day talking about, I was at a disadvantage because I'm a chubby gay guy. No. And notice how him and Marissa both use the same excuse for why they shouldn't be at the end. And I'm glad a young person or an old person, I don't know how old the person is, but I'm glad someone on Twitter went out of their way to expose them. They had a great gym in this Big Brother house. Usually on seasons of Big Brother, they don't have a gym. They usually have the whole backyard as a gym. Basically. So people run back and forth around the backyard, or they bench press, or they do what Austin used to do and do squats and stuff like that with the dumbbells, the bar and shit like that or whatever. And this season, they dedicated an entire room to them to work out in because they knew they closed off the majority, like about 80% of the backyard. Okay. So my thing is, both of y'all motherfuckers didn't try to work out at all. So it's not a valid excuse to say because you're chubby, you deserve something. Go to the fucking gym. And look at me. I'm not the skinniest guy in the world. Okay? But I lift weights, baby. I put in work in the gym. Okay? So I don't feel sorry for no one. And at the end of the day, you have to be proud of who you are. And see, Ross picks and chooses when he wants to be proud of himself. When he wants to placate to the audience and make them vote for him for AFP, oh, I'm just this underdog. I was some fat gay guy growing up. Blah, 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 blah. But being that fat gay guy puts you on the trajectory that you went on to become a success. So stop using that as some fucking ankle weight and start embracing it. That's what I'm saying. And it's rare that you get me saying something like that to prop up a gay person. But at the end of the day, y'all don't let black people have excuses in this game, but then you allow a gay person to have an excuse for being an underdog in life? When have you ever been an underdog in this game, Ross? You've been within every single majority alliance. And while I'm willing to give you credit for all of the willing and dealing you did, I refuse to let you use that bullshit excuse of, oh, because I'm gay and fat, I shouldn't be at the end. When you're aligned to CBS's fucking alumni darling, production's pet, the fucking specialist in cowardice that is known as Marissa Jared Winokur, of course you'll be at the fucking end. Okay? Of course. So stop the bullshit. Just stop it. We're not here to hear the excuses, okay? Now I want to get into Omarosa because I feel like Omarosa was the true MVP of this episode. She was scalding with the tea everywhere you looked, okay? She had confessionals that were on point. Even after she was out of the game, she was on point with a lot of the things that she said. I mean, when she put her key in, she even said, I'm voting for the person that didn't target me every second of the game. And let's keep it real. Ross targeted you because you were a black woman. Because if you were a white woman, he would have made you part of his fucking alliance. Ding, ding, ding. So let's keep it real. Let's keep it all the way to fuck real. All right, so Omarosa, she exposed Ross and Mark's deal in the middle of the HOH comp. I kind of got into this a little bit earlier. But at the end of the day, Mark throws it, Ross wins it. And my thing is, Ross was going back and forth with her, like almost like he didn't want her to talk to Mark, to manipulate Mark into doing something for his own best interests. You know, the entitlement with Ross is through the fucking roof. And I was prepared to call Mark a great player. I was prepared to say he deserves to be at the end of the game if he's there with a specific person, if he's there in a right scenario. I thought sitting next to James, he had a shot, okay? But looking at it now, it's like, Mark, you put yourself in that position to go home before the final two by not winning that HOH. If Mark wins that HOH, if he uses his smart and realizes Omarosa is really the only chance he has of winning it based off people's hatred for her, because they're not going to reward him over Ari at this point because he's a fucking puppet. They're not going to reward him over Ross because he's a fucking puppet. They're not going to reward him over Marissa for various reasons. So at the end of the day, his only shot was to win this HOH, not do what Ross and Marissa wanted, target Ross and Marissa. Even if Ross wins HOH, at least now Ross, well, I guess in that situation, it would be a 1-1 tie between Omarosa and Ross to get rid of Marissa, which would have led to a tiebreaker, and Mark would have had to make the decision that made the most sense. Okay, and let's say he puts up Omarosa next to Marissa. It's up to Ari to tie it up, and then it gets a little bit more shifty because Ari sometimes it feels like sometimes Ari is willing to just conform instead of making the move to win the game. So it would have had to been Ari on the block and Omarosa and Ross off the block in that final five scenario to guarantee Marissa went home, and that's why I told y'all Ross would have made this imperative for him to win the final five HOH to make it to the end, especially when you consider he could also win the final four HOH. But yeah, the shit was rigged to begin with. It was very rigged. Then when you add to the fact that there's a veto competition, Omarosa has asthma, and they're making her climb up all this shit. Now, mind you, this is a normal Big Brother competition. I'm not knocking the makers of the competition for staying true to the competition. But at the end of the day, though, the fact that they wait for Omarosa to have to be in a must-win situation to make this competition, but every time Ross is in a must-win situation, they come up with a whack competition. Like, let's be real. The competition Ross beat in that double eviction was garbage. Mark my words, that competition will never be brought back because the competition didn't make sense. It felt like leftovers of the HOH competition that already happened in the double, okay? It was just pictures and numbers, okay? And let's be real. That doesn't benefit a straight man. Straight men, we don't look at fucking portraits and pictures. Oh, look at that Picasso. We don't give a fuck about shit like that. So that benefits women and gay men, which benefits Marissa and it benefits Ross. And who was on the block? Marissa and Ross. See what I'm saying? So the veto competition at its most simplistic form, okay, on the surface was meant to make sure James and Mark couldn't win it. And it was meant to make sure it at least even the playing field so Omarosa couldn't gash them like she did in the HOH comp. Okay, ladies and gentlemen? So that's what's really popping, okay? But the fact that they chose that veto for Omarosa in a must-win situation meant that they were ready for her to go. Oh, we got enough White House quotes from you, bitch. Time to go. And notice how the entire episode had nothing to do with the White House, but then Julie, shout outs to one of my Twitter followers who mentioned it. I forgot your name, and I don't want to look at my phone at this moment because I'm in the zone. But at the end of the day, they went out of their way to mention to me. They said, oh, notice how Julie had to fill the White House quota by asking her a political question. Okay? So Omarosa constantly served a purpose, but they weren't willing to let her serve the purpose as being the driving force of strategy. They weren't willing to let her to serve the purpose of being the best player in the game. They were always going to chop her down and put her at a disadvantage. And from a competitive aspect, they picked this veto competition on purpose to guarantee that she wouldn't be able to have a fighting chance at saving herself. And that's disgusting, CBS. Because right after she's out the fucking house, you go out of your way to talk about how she's going to be on the talk tomorrow. And immediately you're on marketing mode, trying to act like you love her so fucking much. But you're spending all this time to benefit Ross and Marissa. It's bullshit. It's complete bullshit. And Recency Bias Radio gonna talk that shit, baby. All right. So let's move on to some more Omarosa topics, ladies and gentlemen. Because, man, a lot of shit happened tonight. I was taking hella notes, boy. I'm over here writing paragraphs, and I got an essay for my essays. You feel me? So, did you peep how happy everyone looked when Omarosa had the lowest score in that veto? Did you see all the looks every single person gave each other? It was like, we did it, guys. It was almost like everyone who was left in the game was working with production to make sure this black woman couldn't be at the end, to guarantee Marissa and Ross would be at the end. Because if you take into account that that competition was rigged for Marissa top to bottom, come on, y'all. It was rigged for her top to bottom. And we're going to get into that. But at the end of the day, Omarosa was the only person intelligent enough left that had an opposing idea of who to take to the end, who would have at least gave Marissa a go for her money, even if Marissa knew all the answers. Omarosa is that smart. And she proved it in a double eviction by basically winning the exact same competition. Okay? But it was more of a memory competition, as opposed to the most corniest competition of all time, which I need to mention right now. That little text shit, that little iPhone, iMessage, all of that shit was soft. All that shit was beta mail. Okay? It's like, hey, did you hear about how I won this competition? Shut your dumb ass up. Don't nobody want to see that bullshit, coach. Somebody lied to Big Brother. But it's interesting. They could come up with that bullshit competition to decide the final HOH. And if you really take into account that it was rigged for Marissa from the get-go, that entire competition was meant to confuse other people. Because if you have two people constantly saying conflicting things and you're trying to prove who's telling the truth, then the people that are going against Marissa who don't know the right answer, they're constantly questioning if they have the right answer because they're hearing different things. So as someone else speaks, after someone else speaks, they're thinking about what someone else already said. So now they're like, oh, they're not telling the truth. So now they listen to the other person while they're thinking this person's wrong. And then they're like, oh, no, maybe they're not telling the truth. So people are constantly questioning themselves while Marissa already has the answer fucking turned around each time. Did y'all peep game on that? It's only 6 questions. And if you look at it, Marissa had the first 5 right before Julie even finished the fucking question. Are you serious, coach? Are you serious? If this ain't proof that this shit was rigged for Marissa, if this don't vindicate Recency Bias Radio as the flagship Rant program for Big Brother, everything Big Brother, then I don't know what else will, baby. I don't know what else will. There's tons of doubters, but they getting quiet. Shut your dumb ass up. You feel me? I'm keeping it real, ladies and gentlemen. Y'all saw that competition, and y'all know that Marissa, even without being helped, she would have had so much knowledge of the game, so where she would have gave Marissa some run for her money. She would have gave Ross some run for his money. And did you peep how on the 6th question, all of a sudden Marissa, the first 5 questions, she doesn't count with her fingers. She doesn't do none of this acting. Like, oh, I don't know. All of a sudden she started doing a Macarena and all this dumb shit, okay? None of that we saw out of her in the first 5 questions. So you mean to tell me in the last one, all of a sudden you don't know what you're doing? Does she have a fucking earpiece? Was production telling her, hey, throw this last question to keep some type of illusion that you don't know all the answers? Because you know the tiebreaker answer anyway. It felt like that. And the way she chose 1,000, it was almost like someone told her, oh, Ross just chose 1,600. You got this. Just choose something under 1,300. Make it believable. Go for 1,000. Who wouldn't put 1,000? Ding, ding, ding. It felt like she had an earpiece in her ear the whole fucking time. And she has this big ass fucking wig on, so we have no way to prove if she's wearing some shit. You feel what I'm saying? They go to commercial break after every HOH, so she could have took the shit out after. We just don't know, ladies and gentlemen. But this is how hard CBS will work to guarantee the outcome they want. This is how hard they work. And people say, oh, you're such a conspiracy theory. You're looking for the worst in every outcome, in every scenario. What's wrong with you, Dave? Well, I've been vindicated now. So maybe you're just looking for the best in every outcome, the best in every scenario, instead of looking at it from an unbiased perspective. Maybe you're incapable of looking at it from an unbiased perspective. See, I love the game, but I want the best for the game. But people who go out of their way to constantly think that these producers care about us more than the casuals. The casuals are the majority of the viewers, ladies and gentlemen. They are. The majority of the viewers, they just keep their fucking TV on CBS all night, and they count as a view too, okay? They watch the whole lineup. As soon as they get off work, 5 p.m. to 9 p.m., they watch all that shit. They're the majority. We're the minority. We show up only for this show, okay? So they don't care about us as much, even though we're the ones participating in the live feeds. We're the one putting our money where our mouth is. We're the ones actually keeping this shit afloat, but they don't care about us. They care about the casuals. Because the casuals, they dictate everything. The casuals are the majority. They are the populace. And I can't stress this enough, ladies and gentlemen. So that's why I'm saying this shit is welcome to Rigged Brother, because it's rigged from the start. And I proved it. And that's why I go out of my way to do all of these rants after every episode and before the season starts. That way can't no one say, oh, based off something that happened, that's why you're saying this. No. I make sure I say what I say before the season starts. That way can't no one steal from me. And if they do, y'all hold them accountable. Because I fuck with my chat room, baby. Most lit live chat in the game, by far. We got this shit on lockdown, okay? Lockdown. Hashtag that shit, okay? But yeah, at the end of the day, Ross is a paperweight champion. Every single HOH he won, and even Omarosa spoke on it. Every HOH that motherfucker won was thrown to him. He's garbage. And I'm glad he didn't win now, because it proved me right, and it proves when shit get thrown to you, you shouldn't be the winner. You shouldn't, because you're garbage, okay? If you can't win it out of will and skill, then you're trash. And for Ross to go out of his way in his final speech to imply, oh, to be a champion, you have to beat a champion. And I told Meta during the Bowl Arena thing that I beat him because of this and that. The whole comp was thrown to you. So how the hell did you ever beat a champion? See the hypocrisy? But once again, production, the crowd in the audience, none of them go, ooh, oh, he's lying. None of them care about that shit. The minute Omarosa gives one goodbye message to Shannon, though, all of them go, whole bunch of murmurs. See how the bias works? See, when you're LGBT or a woman, everyone's backing you. Or let me take that back. When you're LGBT or a non-black woman, everyone backs you. When you're anything other than that, they find a reason to dislike you. It happens every fucking day, ladies and gentlemen. And see, when you live the life of someone who is a melanoid, someone who contains melanin, you live this shit. So when you try to explain it to someone that isn't living it, it's so easy for them to dismiss you because they have the privilege of not having to notice it. We're trying to put you on game. That way you can be with us to find a solution. But you're so quick to dismiss it because you benefit from it in its entirety. So you don't want us to help us find a solution because that in its own way equalizes you being worth less. You don't want to give up what you're worth to make sure we're worth as much. You don't want that. And that's why I put the feminist movement on blast with the Me Too Mafia video, because at the end of the day, women want equal rights, but they don't want to be held accountable the same way a man is. They want a certain amount of things that they value as important, but they don't want to be held to that same standard a man is. They don't want to be the first line of defense if someone breaks in the house. No. The man can still do that shit. They don't want to hold the door. They don't want to hold the chair. They don't want to do all that other shit. The man still has to do that shit because they still believe in chivalry, which is why I say feminism is the anti-chivalrous movement. Because if you want the man to treat you like a queen, you have to be willing to compromise some things. Because the man will treat you like a queen as long as he knows he's still the king. So I'm spinning gems tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Trust me, I knew this finale was coming. I took last night off because I was building this shit, okay? I'm building it. And I dare a motherfucker to debate me on this because I'm on point, okay? I'm well-read. I'm well-versed. I've done a lot of things in my life at my tender age of 26. I've done a lot of things in my life to where I can speak on all these things with confidence, okay? So let's get back to some strategy talk. Okay, I think we're almost at that moment. Yeah. Matter of fact, I think we are at that moment. Oh, well, no. Let me just bring up this real quick. Did y'all peep Omarosa's veto speech when Ross won the veto, and he's just standing there looking extra proud because he knows Omarosa's going at this point? Did y'all peep how Omarosa, she stood up, she gave her speech, and she went out of her way to give Ari her condolences. She gave Ari her vote of approval because at the end of the day, she don't fuck with no one left besides Ari. And that was the alliance we all deserved. But because Brandy was the fucking flea market, dollar store, bargain bin Omarosa, and because Brandy wasn't black, it naturally allowed Ari to flock to her, to gravitate towards her. Let's just call it what it is. Socially, she gravitated towards her. But at the end of the day, though, it was good to see Omarosa showing that united front. In her own way, she showed Ross and Mark that, oh, y'all may have screwed us over, and y'all may have had some women to be your accomplices in screwing me over, but I'm still going to vote for a woman, baby. Ain't shit changed. And that's why I give Omarosa credit, because to her dying wish, I don't want to say dying because that implies she's doing nothing after, but at the end of the day, to the point where she was evicted, she was still willing to bang on that dresser as I'm a feminist. Shannon didn't have that in her. Marissa, she didn't even have it in her to risk taking Ari to the end. Okay, so if you really look at it, the only two women in the game that were truly feminists, that weren't willing to work with men at their core, were the two black women. Think about it. Keisha and Omarosa were the only two women from the get-go that were all on board for this pro-woman shit. And even when they got turned on, they were kind of pigeonholed to work with Meta. Let's be honest. They weren't really aligned with Meta. Even then, they were like, we're just not going to put the black brother up. But they weren't really aligned with Meta. So really think about it. The only two women out of 6 that were really all women, that were really pro-women from the get-go and to the end, to the point where they went out the house, was Keisha and it was Omarosa. All the other ones were full of shit because all the other ones created alliances with men and were more loyal to them than they were to their previous all-woman thing. And I'm sure Marissa can flip this entire scenario and go, oh, I chose Ross because he's gay. He's an honorary woman. Fuck out of here. The man has a penis. He's a guy. Okay? I don't care what he likes to do in his back door. No pun intended. But at the end of the day, though, he's still a guy. Okay, and you chose that guy, and you're using the excuse, we always work together. No. You were scared to take Ari because you knew Ari didn't lie. And instead of admitting that much, she'd rather just say, oh, I took Ross just because we were loyal to each other. Bitch, you were loyal to no one. In fact, I'd argue Ross was more loyal to you than you were loyal to anyone in the game because you cut Shannon at the drop of a hat, and Shannon still voted for you. Kudos to Shannon. She a bigger person than I am. But that goes back to, at the end of the day, all these women had to save face and vote for a woman because they all promised each other they would. despite all the differences they had. And this is the one saving grace to where I'll say, okay, there's hope for the feminist movement. The fact that you all can still come together despite your differences and still vote for a woman, even though that woman ain't shit. I still can respect that because you still were able to recenter your philosophies together to come together as a united front. So from that perspective, I respect it. I don't support it because, once again, I believe it's the anti-chivalrous movement. If you want a man to be chivalrous, if you want a man to court you like a true queen, you have to know that he's the king. You can't try to be a king and a queen, ladies and gentlemen. That don't work. It might work in England. It don't work here. But I'm just holding you to that standard, okay? Just holding you to that standard. But yes, but at the end of the day, man, I really do think Omarosa got the last laugh. But so let's truly break down this Marissa competition that was rigged for her before we get into questions and stuff like that. Let's truly break it down, because if you think about it, they had to rig these answers to Marissa because Ross already admitted in the edit that he was taking Mark. Ari, she probably knew better than to take Ross. She probably still could have taken Marissa, to be completely honest with y'all. She could have still taken Marissa, but I personally believe she would have been smart enough to take Mark as well, okay? So if you really look at it, no one was going to take Marissa except Marissa. So she had to win this comp, which incentivizes CBS to rig it for her because Ross is smarter than her. He's just more intelligent. Then on top of that, Marissa hasn't won shit all game except a veto competition, which I believe deserves an asterisk next to it because Keisha basically quit. So every decision Keisha made in that veto competition in terms of choosing Omarosa to go against someone when she should have let Omarosa wait for an extra choice, you know what I mean? Shit like that put Omarosa in a compromising position, and they put Keisha in a compromising position. But then in hindsight, knowing Keisha wanted to quit, it made sense. Keisha was trying to make sure Omarosa couldn't win it, so Omarosa wouldn't take herself off, which leads to Shannon getting put on, which leads to Keisha staying. You see what I'm saying? So now we all know the fact that the one competition Marissa won before this one that wasn't rigged to her was an asterisk because it was someone quitting. So at the end of the day, Marissa only won two competitions, one veto and one final HOH. The final HOH was rigged, and the second one, someone quit. So in reality, she did nothing in this game. She has nothing tangible to claim in this game that doesn't include Ross's name. And she went out of her way to mention Ross every time she talked about her strategy in the game. So it showed that Ross was the deserving winner. But once again, Ross, you didn't deserve to win because you didn't turn on her. You're an idiot. You should have took Omarosa. You would have won the game in a landslide, my G. You would have won it, but you were so busy trying to target someone black that you didn't realize that everyone else hated black people too in the game. But you didn't want her to have the satisfaction of beating you. You didn't even want it to be an option. And let's be honest, Omarosa, she spilled the tea. She said by her taking out the biggest target in the game, James, it all of a sudden made everyone else view her game differently. If she doesn't take out James in that situation, and she takes out someone who's trash, okay, I'm not saying Ari's trash, but if she takes out a Mark in that situation, she probably makes it to the end with Ross, and she probably beats Ross, or Ross beats her. We just don't know. But because she took out James, now everyone looks at her like, oh, this black girl is deadly. She did what we couldn't. That's how they treat us, man. That's just how they treat us, man. You know? And Ross is just an idiot. He's tone deaf. Because all those people out there, it looked like they wanted to root for him, but they made plans to root for a woman. But I think they would have went back on that whole we're rooting for a woman if it was a black one. Because they look at us as, I'm not going to say they as in everyone in the house, but at the end of the day, there are still people on this earth that look at black folks as subhuman. So they'll find an excuse to not vote for a black woman by trying to equate it in their mind as, I'm not rooting for a woman, so I'm rooting for a gay man who's an honorary woman. That's what it would have been. That's what it would have been, okay? And I truly believe Omarosa would have beat Ross in the Final Four HOH anyway and not even taken Ross. And Ross most likely would have taken Mark. So in all reality, if Omarosa is sitting there at the end, she's sitting at the end with either Mark or Ari, and she wins the game, most likely anyway. But I'm just saying from a scenario of Ross making a huge mistake, he made a huge mistake. He dug his grave. It's time to lay in it, motherfucker. That's what's really real. You feel me? People are like, oh, he was robbed. Oh, so what? Okay, I told y'all the shit was rigged. But at the end of the day, I thought Marissa pulled a BB16, Cody, but congratulations. You won the honorary season of Big Brother Celebrity. You deserve some form of applause. I'm not going to do you completely grimy. You deserve something. But one thing I want to mention to y'all is, did y'all find it interesting that Marissa didn't mention being a cancer survivor in her jury speech? Did she not mention it because she mentioned it in the double eviction, so she felt like it would have been redundant? And did she actually have the self-awareness to know by mentioning it a second time, it would kind of rub people the wrong way? Why didn't she mention it now? That makes me think in that double eviction scenario, even though she knew she was safe, I think she blacked out. I think she got nervous and she started just rambling. And in some cases, she rambled tonight. But for her not to mention being a cancer survivor as the last trump card to completely stunt Ross, I think that was out of respect for Ross, if anything. But I still feel like it was really cheap for her to be sitting next to someone like Brandy and you mentioned cancer when Brandy's going home anyway. And then when you sit next to Ross, you don't mention it. This is winner take all. You're not going to mention that at all? I thought it was bullshit, ladies and gentlemen. I thought it was complete bullshit. But at the end of the day, this has been the rant portion. Let's get into the questions, ladies and gentlemen. I'm ready. I know y'all ready. Let's get it popping. I'm on my way right now to the chat room. So start getting your questions in, okay? I'm going to take, it's a finale, yo. I'm taking 10 questions, okay? And I'm going to ask y'all some questions, okay? But I got to think of some good questions to ask y'all first. But at the end of the day, keep your questions coming in. I am on my way right now to the chat room, and we going to get this shit popping. We going to get this shit popping. Damn, I'm over here. They hitting me with a damn ad and shit. Hold up. Damn, man, y'all thirsty as hell, boy. YT ain't playing games, coach. All right, I'm skipping. All right, there we go. All right, for sure. All right, man, I'm in the chat now. Let's get it popping. Matter of fact, I'm going to text let's get it popping so y'all know let's get it popping. Okay? Let's get it popping. Thoughts on Meta? The first thing I'll say is Meta has secured his all-star spot because they won a black buffoon. On top of that, by him voting randomly, and it happened to be a Ross vote, that just goes to show Ross could have easily lost this 7-2 if Meta doesn't do that dumb shit, right? So that lets me know. But I think Meta deep down, I think he knew he was choosing Ross, but he didn't want to be seen as someone who was choosing Ross over the majority. So he kind of played it off like it was random. But I think he positioned the keys in a certain way to know the one that's in front is a specific name. The one that's in the back is a specific name. Trust me, basketball players, no matter how dumb they may seem in their press conferences and stuff like that, you got to have a certain intellect to understand how plays are ran, defensive matchups, people's tendencies, whether they go right or go left, the percentage of where they shoot from which side of the arc, all that good shit. So you got to be a certain intellect to play sports. So trust me, Meta is in a way playing up his buffoonery to play down his intelligence. But the problem is you're out of the game now, Meta. Why the fuck are you still acting dumb? You know, but at the same time, I think he was trying to look for some Big Brother All-Star casting situation, because at the end of the day, now that he's played it before, now he knows how to prepare to miss his wife. Now he knows how to prepare to miss his kid. You see what I'm saying? So I think he was definitely trying to put himself in a position to make some more money, because I'm pretty sure they paid them some good money for being on this for 3 weeks, because they could have made that same amount of money somewhere else in less than 3 weeks. So that's why CBS most likely made it only 3 weeks to make sense out of paying them what they paid them. Okay. All right. If there was a Celebrity Big Brother US season 2, do you think it would be as good? And who would you like to see in it? Well, Ghost Hunter, if you haven't already seen one of my BB19 rants, I actually did a prediction video on who I would like to see in this season of Celebrity Big Brother US. This is my plea to Big Brother. Go back and watch that video, Big Brother. Since y'all like to be up my ass all day watching what I say anyway, go back, look at my 16 players that I predicted, and pick those people up. They would be gold for live feeds, for TV, for the casuals, for the super fans, all of the above. It would be a great experience, okay? I mentioned a lot of great people, okay? And I don't want to chop up any of their names, but I had some great people. I had some Saturday Night Live people, some comedians. I think we need a comedian for a celebrity season, because I would like to see how a comedian conducts themselves within a social environment. Would they be too funny and become a huge threat early? Or would they be able to play down how funny they are and show people the human side of them and get emotional to make people want to keep them? Stuff like that, I think, would be intriguing. But that's my answer to that question. Just check out one of my previous BB19 rants, and you'll be able to peep game. I believe it was called it's the one where Josh got slapped in the face. That's basically the one it was called, but I can't remember the name of it, but that's the thumbnail. So whichever one where Paul slaps Josh in the face, that's the video. So just go back, watch that one, and you'll see who I think should be on CBB US Season 2. That's my answer to that. Ghost, you don't get any more questions. I'm sorry, bro. All right, let's go to more questions. Yeah, go. But my question to y'all would be, who would y'all want on Celebrity Big Brother US Season 2? Comment below, whether you're watching this on demand or watching this live. Give me your 16. That would be a great game to play. Okay. But okay, let me look at more answers. Okay, more questions. Do you think if people of color were the dominant race, that things would have been different? You know I had to answer this, Sizzler. Of course. Heaven forbid you ever make this equal, like Survivor Cook Islands, where you give us 4 Black people, 4 Oriental, 4 Latino, 4 Anglo. Heaven forbid you do that. Because if you do that, we'll be able to actually see that these white folks aren't clever. These white folks aren't dominant. They just have the most numbers, which allows them to appear clever because more people are willing to trust them because they're more comfortable around them. See, once you start giving everyone an equal opportunity in this game, it exposed how overrated most people that people would consider the best players ever truly are. I love Janelle Perzina, but we have never been given an athletic prowess Black woman. And if we are, she's going to be evicted before a jury because no one is going to let her dominate because they expect her to dominate physical competitions. Whereas Janelle, she looks good. She's in shape. People are willing to give her time. A Black guy, same thing. If there's a guy like James Maslow, get a Black guy that's in shape just like him, just as charming, boy band guy. Let's say a guy from B2K happened to be on a Celebrity Big Brother US season and was in great shape or something. Let's say Marcus Houston or something. Let's just throw something out, okay? Chris Brown, he's too big for this shit. He'll never do it, okay? Plus, he'll be asked every second about, so what happened with you and Rihanna in that car? Like, nah, man, it's suicide for his celebrity status. But at the end of the day, let's say it's someone who's like on the fringe, okay? Like a B2K former person or a Pretty Ricky guy or someone like that. I'm just trying to put you in the mindset of someone that's in my age group that was growing up in high school and heard, grind on me, relax your mind. You know what I'm talking about, ladies? All right, so at the end of the day, let's say they pick one of them, okay? If they pick one of them and they showcase themselves to be a physical prowess player, there won't be no Shannons aligning with them to keep a threat in the game. No, they'll say, oh, we all need to get them out because we're all threatened, okay? And heaven forbid we get a woman that's that tough and a man that's that tough that are both melanin. Oh, they're both going to be targeted instantly. It's going to be like Candace and my brother all over again. You know what I'm saying? From BB15. You know what I'm saying? So it's going to happen that way. But if the majority is Black, now all of a sudden, those two people, they become the talismans. They become the people that garner all the people to stick together. Because what Big Brother doesn't want is for it to be equal and for all of these races of people to go, you know what? The same way all these women come together and say, we need to see a woman winner. Big Brother and CBS are scared of all these people of color coming together. I'm talking Latinos, I'm talking Blacks, I'm talking Orientals. Even though Orientals are starting to become somewhat honorary white folks, a lot of Oriental women are choosing white men and they're having mixed babies to continue the white genetics further. It's something that is another form of white supremacy, but I'm not going to get into that in this podcast. But at the end of the day, though, if you were to give a half-cast season of Latinos and Blacks, okay, they would come together and realize one of us needs to win this game. Let's all come together. And see, at the end of the day, even though the Orientals would most likely work with the whites, because that's just how shit is, the Orientals are very smart. They'll know, it benefits me too to turn on these white folks. But see, if people start seeing that from their eyes on TV, that gives normal people, the normal citizen, that gives them the idea to come together too. And that's why undercover white supremacists go out of their way to say that this is all based off the population of the US, because deep down, they all know that psychologically, it is best to continue white supremacy by showing a white person constantly winning a game like this, because this is truly the game of life. Big Brother is the game of life. It's the game of how to keep a job. So if a whole bunch of white people are the majority, they dictate who goes home every time, and they always wind up 4 out of the 5 of the final 5, then it goes to show a white person always finishes first, even if they don't deserve to, which is life. Someone can have less credentials than you. You could be a person of color right now with a master's degree, and there could be a white person with a bachelor's. They're going to be picked before you with less credentials just because they're white. And I know a lot of people, when they do job applications, they say that they're just mixed, or they say that they're just other. That way they can come, they have the opportunity to show up to that interview and wow the person with their presence. Because if you just look on a piece of paper and you just see African-American black, most people, especially executives, they're going to think, oh, okay, this dude is extra dark skinned, extra ratchet, has cornrows or dreads or an afro, you know, isn't well kept, out of shape. They're just going to think of a whole bunch of things, because at the end of the day, they don't want to hire you. Okay. And this is why they go out of their way to mute my podcast, because the stuff that I say, it unlocks people's minds. You thought the Black Panther movie unlocks people's minds? Oh, I unlock people's minds on a whole nother level, because I'm talking this shit and I'm making it direct. I'm not using symbolism. But that's my answer to your question. It was a little long-winded, but at the end of the day, if we were to give black people the majority in a season, trust me, we'd have a black winner easily. Because contrary to popular belief, the media loves to portray us all as crabs in a barrel, people that are willing to kill each other to get crumbs. But we kill each other to get crumbs because of the systematic position they put us all in due to gentrification. It's not because we hate each other. And if we do hate each other, it's because slavery indoctrinated the thought into us to hate the slave who's in the house, which creates a certain type of jealousy. So naturally, the dark-skinned person is jealous of the light-skinned person. The light-skinned person's mad at the dark-skinned person for feeling like they're not one of them. Stuff like that. Mulattoes get birthed, all that other stuff. All these different terms, they're all still melanin. And that's why I try to just say melanin now, because black and the idea of color was created by the white man in the first place. See, I'm spitting bars here. I'm spitting bars. Let me scoot up. I'm spitting bars, coach. But at the end of the day, if the majority of people in this game are colored, are melanin, they will no doubt be 4 out of the 5 that are at the end of the game. And that is what CBS doesn't want, because then they lose ratings, they lose live feed coverage. And a lot of these white folks that are like live feeds experts, they don't want to see all of these colored people on the screen. They don't want to see College Hill. They want to see Big Brother. See? But let's move on to another 8 questions, ladies and gentlemen, because I think I just knocked that shit out the park. Okay? Woo, I'm going ham, boy. I'm going ham. I got you, Shia Israel. Don't worry, baby. Don't worry. Don't worry. Okay? All right. Did Big Brother improve Omarosa's image? I would say Omarosa improved Omarosa's image. Big Brother just gave her the platform to improve her own image. She still had to do what she did. She still had to make the move she made. She still had to give the death wink to Marissa. She still had to say what she said to Ari. She still had to put up Ross next to Marissa. She still had to do all of these things from the beginning of the game that may have rubbed certain people the wrong way because they don't like to see a confident sister. She still had to do those things herself. Okay? So I'm not willing to give Big Brother the credit for that. I'm giving her the credit for that. Because in my eyes, even though I may not have liked her coming into this game, I'm at least open to hearing what she has to say tomorrow on the talk based off what she's done in this game. And I thought her final speech was great. I thought it was great. So that's my answer to that question. I think Omarosa helped her own image. And some people say, oh, she's into politics. She's manipulating all of you. She's still a devout Republican. Look, man, Republican, Democratic, all of this shit is once again meant to divide us all. And that's why I'm happy Omarosa went out of her way to say 2 parties shouldn't split the American public into becoming vile and conniving, because she knows the truth. Republican, Democratic, Independent, it's all wings of the same bird. The truth is, The Republican Party truly was the first party that helped black people. But that's not what they want to tell us, because they want us all to think Republicans ain't shit. Look, the individual person may not be shit, but just the same way that I said Marissa helps her own image and not Big Brother, I'm not willing to say a specific party is what makes me look at someone as a dipshit. And that's my answer to that question as well. I think that was well phrased as well. So I'm going to move on to the next question, ladies and gentlemen. See, I'm bringing that heat today. You know what I'm saying? Motherfuckers like, ooh, this motherfucker talking that shit. Let me leave. Okay, you can go ahead and leave, motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? This ain't for the faint of heart, coach. Exactly. Starlight Sparkle. I know my history. You see? You see? See, I ain't no motherfucker that's like, be democratic at all times. Fuck out of here. Okay? All of that shit is just meant to manipulate us for a specific election at a specific time. Okay? Be who you want to be. It's about who you are as a person that defines you, not the party you represent. And not the show that you're on. Real talk, true spit. All right, so I'm taking 8 more questions, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get it popping. I think I already answered your question. Oh, I can't do it. I can't do it. I can't do it. Damn. All right. Ask some more questions, ladies and gentlemen. Will you audition for BB20? Faizan Ahmed. Yes, I will audition for BB20. Now that Big Brother Celebrity is fully done, I will do my audition tape. Okay, it will be sent to them. Now, once again, once I send it to them, it's up to them to fuck with me. Based off of everything that I say, they're probably not going to want a guy like me on the live feeds, because I will unlock a lot of black people's thought processes, and I will make a lot of white people uncomfortable. These two things put together create a combustive concoction. More alliteration, what can I say? But at the end of the day, it creates a combustive concoction. And when you create that, it leads to less money for CBS. And they don't want a black guy that's going to lead to less money. They want a black guy that'll lead to more money, which will lead them into a buffoonery type of role. Because a buffoon, white people love watching. Oh, he's so funny. It's like they're at a fucking circus watching a clown. Okay? A fucking court jester. They don't want a brother that is calm, collected. It's like my brother Payroll Giovanni said. He said, y'all worry about the dude who be getting loud. You should be worried if he calm and just sitting down. See, I'm calm and I'm sitting down. I'm the person that worries Big Brother the most. And that's why they don't fuck with anyone else's channel. They fuck with mine. Because everything that I say, you can tell it comes from a certain level of knowledge that is obtained. Not some knowledge that was just handed to me or that was easy to acquire. Okay? I look for the stuff that's hard to understand, because only by knowing my history can I not repeat it. And that's on some real talk, true spit. So that's my way to answer that question as well, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to work tonight, baby. You know, motherfuckers talk about a finale, okay? This rant gonna be better than the damn finale itself, okay? You feel me, coach? All right, so okay, I see you, April Michelle. Yeah, go ahead. I'm rooting for you. You get on that show, I'm gonna be like, hey, man, I know her. You feeling it? You feeling? I promise in my rants, if you get on the show, I ain't gonna be too hard on you. I'm gonna be honest, but I ain't gonna be too hard on you, all right? Just don't pull a Zakia and get with a Paulie. I'm just saying. And don't pull a Davon either. I'm just saying. For really though. Yeah, you right about that, Ghost. Josh is on some bullshit. All right, I'm taking 7 more questions, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, my brother Johnny came out here. Do you still fuck with Zachary K. Hubbard with the art of gematria? I fuck with it to a certain extent. This has nothing to do with Big Brother, ladies and gentlemen. This just happened to do with another channel. I fuck with it to a certain extent. But at the end of the day, I think a lot of the stuff Zachary talks about is too slanted towards Jewish folks. And while Zionist Jews may run everything, I'm not willing to blame them for everything. Some things just happen, okay? And I think when you spend so much time trying to blame a specific entity for every single problem that's dealt to you, I think you're starting to actually put yourself more in the dark than you initially were when you were trying to find the light. So that's my answer to that question. 7 more questions, ladies and gentlemen. So that's my answer to that. I already answered that question about who I want on Celebrity Big Brother 2, Johnny. Oh, yeah, I'm dropping that fire tonight, Selena. You know what it is. You know what it is, baby. Get it out of here, coach. Ugh. You know what I'm saying? That's why I came through with the vest. I'm like, you know what? I'm finna be on some motorcycle gang shit and just kill him. Killing me softly. You feel me, coach? All right. So let's get some more questions, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, man, when you watch it on demand, Johnny, you'll see what I'm talking about. Okay, Jay Dunn, new question. Do you think Omarosa was just used for ratings and cultural addresses? Yes. Yes. But I think CBS didn't think Omarosa had it in her wheelhouse to be pro-black on the show. I think they thought she was going to coon it out, fight with Keisha at every second. Because you notice the way they covered the Bill Cosby versus Donald Trump segment, they had white people like, ooh, yes. But the minute she started aligning with Keisha, they was like, get her out of here. She's a threat. You see how different they flipped on her? When it was just her fighting with Keisha, everyone loved Omarosa then. The minute she starts aligning with Keisha, all of a sudden, and I'm including the people in the house. When she was fighting with Keisha, everyone was all pro-woman to the death. All of a sudden, she starts aligning with Keisha. 2 of the 6 of y'all can get the fuck out of here. You see? But that's the same thing production felt, in my opinion, about the 2 black women coming together. That whole black girl magic shit, I think that really rubbed a lot of people the wrong way. There was people talking about, oh, what if 2 white girls came together and made white girl magic? You all would be mad. Every fucking day is white girl magic. Every fucking day is white boy magic. Every fucking day is white supremacy. Shut your dumb ass up. And that's my answer to that question, ladies and gentlemen. You feel me, man? They can't let us have nothing, man. They can't let us have nothing. Not even a fucking hashtag. Okay? All right. Do you think Big Brother would hire someone from an Indian reservation? I'm assuming you're saying this as someone. This is from Mr. Man Makes a Lot of Can. I try to shout you all out by name to let you know that you are loved here. But do you think Big Brother would hire someone from an Indian reservation? As if you're talking from a casting perspective, that's interesting because I don't like the term Indian, ladies and gentlemen, and this is why. The term Indian, number one, we shouldn't call anyone an Indian unless they're from India. That's the first thing I'll say. I think that's intellectually dishonest and it's lazy. Secondly, Native Americans, which is what they should be looked at as, the majority of them, which people don't want us to know, were melanin like me, melanin like you who may be watching this. Truth is, the indigenous people of America were black. That's the truth. The majority. See, the indigenous people of America that are propped up as the Indian Native Americans are really the Mexicans. And this is what they don't want us to know in the school books. The majority of Native Americans are really the Mexicans that we look at as Mexicans. Those are the Native Americans, Mexicans. That's why California is California, because it's a part of Mexico that was cut away and turned into United States. New Mexico, same thing. Where you think they got the name from? Arizona, same thing. Texas, same thing. All of that is part of Mexico that was cut away from Mexico. So when you see Native Americans, I want you to take into account that they are just people that you would naturally classify as Mexican, but they don't speak Spanish. And that is why I would like more of my Spanish brothers and sisters to understand that you're on the same struggle that the melanin, the black people are. But you have been also mind warped by white folks as well to believe you're not one of us. And let's be real. If you truly do the math, there was only about 500,000 slaves that was transported by ship. If you think about all the slaves that was in this country over 400 years ago, it was way more than that number. Meaning we were the indigenous people. Meaning they came in here and took our shit too. But they don't want us to know that because then we get a birthright to all these casinos. We get a birthright to all these reservations. You see that? And they don't want us having no money, no equity. And if you look at most of the wealthy families in this country that are all from Anglo-Saxon, Caucasian heritage, Caucasoid, the majority of them made money off the slave trade. And that's the only reason why they're wealthy now. So you'll see white people to this day that'll say some bullshit like, well, I grew up poor. Even if you're poor white trash, you are valued way above the rich black man. Don't get the game twisted. And you take advantage of this double standard. So it's only convenient when you bring up how you're a poor white trash. Because any other time you're like, well, at least I'm better than a nigger. I'll be in a trailer home. Let's be real. But to bring this point forward because you were mentioning Indians, which I'm assuming you mean Native Americans, and I have to correct you on that respectively. Take into account that we are also Native Americans. And that's my way of answering that question. 6 questions left, ladies and gentlemen. Scalding with the T. Scalding. Okay? Boy. Oh, yeah, of course white people gonna claim to be Native American. They the real motherfuckers who came majoritively on boats. Let's keep it real. But they the main ones telling us to go back to Africa when most of our lineage is actually from here, indigenously. But we can't tell them to go back to Ireland. We can't tell them to go back to Finland. We can't tell them to go back to England. Because then we're the racist one. See the double standard? But anyway, 6 more questions, ladies and gentlemen. I am spitting that shit tonight, boy. Monica the Waterfall. If Omarosa wrote a tell-all about the White House, would you read it? I'm going to be honest. I really don't care about the White House. I think the White House is, it's symbolic of power, but in reality, the president has no power. He is still incumbent and reliant on the House of Representatives and the Congress in whole and the Senate. I mean, the House of Representatives and the Senate. So in reality, he really has no power. If you watch House of Cards, you'll see that at the end of the day, the president is almost held captive. Yeah, he gets to be put in front of the camera and be the face of the franchise, if you will. You know, the same way we have basketball teams, football teams, you had a quarterback who comes up and speaks for the whole team. You may have the coach do it as well. You know, the same thing happens with the president. The president is almost like the quarterback. The Speaker of the House or the Secretary of State is almost like the coach or something like that. You know what I mean? So or the Secretary of Defense, whichever way you want to look at it, it's all very similar, okay? And the whole reason why sports was created, and this is another gem that I'm gonna drop, the whole reason why sports was created was because it was supposed to be the simulation of war. And that's another thing people don't really look at. And also, sports, before they became organized, they were used to make the slaves compete against each other. I'm sure you all remember the Django movie. Remember how they made the 2 Mandingo warriors, as they would call them. Remember they made them fight for entertainment to the death? Gladiator shit, Rome, all of that stuff, okay? Sport has been here since the beginning of time. But somewhere along the way, people realized we shouldn't be killing off our assets and we should keep them alive and make something more safe, okay? But I'm basically all saying that to say I probably wouldn't give a fuck about Omarosa's book. The majority of people that play Big Brother, after they're out off the show, I stopped really caring about them. I stopped really mentioning them. I only mention Josh because I know business. You know what I mean? He's a meatball. And I do it because at the end of the day, that's where I started. I started doing them impersonations of Josh, and people love it and shit like that or whatever. But I'm a human being. But at the end of the day, yeah, man. Yeah, real talk, I wouldn't read that book. That's my answer to that question. So 5 more questions, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get it popping. You feeling dig me, coach? Y'all funny as hell. Yeah, Josh is. Okay, falling away from Cali. Do you think Ross got America's favorite player because the casuals love the fact that Ross was going after Omarosa? I think that's the real reason why he won. Great question. I think Ross won because he didn't win the game, firstly. I think he won because he was a gay man and LGBT people support each other unconditionally, no matter how they feel about each other. That's the second thing. And third, I definitely think him being so hard against all black people in this game. I mean, he was targeting Meta when Meta had no chance of winning. So him being so hard against all black people definitely endeared himself to a certain conservative side of America, you know, the militia side that will hold down a whole fucking school, hold down a whole fucking establishment for business, and it's well within their rights to form a militia. But if black people do it, they throw a fucking bomb in the building, they light the fucking house on fire like they did Homeboy in California without question. But they let this militia, they let them come out with their lives intact. Shit like that always happens. So even though that has nothing to do with the question you asked, I'm just saying to say this. Yes, I believe that played a role, but I think Ross was going to win it anyway because CBS made sure he would win it. So it didn't even matter who voted for him at the end of the day. They were going to make sure if Ross didn't win the game, he at least got something out of it. And they were going to make sure Marissa still won the game. So that's how I feel. So, ladies and gentlemen, 4 more questions left, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, Jay Dunn, I already answered your question. K's. I would think he would read it, supporting each other, right? Well, here's the thing, K's. I don't have to. Reading it isn't necessarily supporting it. Buying it would be supporting it. Now, if you're asking me if I would buy it, I would probably buy it to support the sister. That doesn't mean I would read it. Okay? See, those are 2 different things. Reading something isn't supporting it, technically. Putting your money where your mouth is supporting it. And I'm not going to count that as a question, but I just felt like I needed to rebuttal that. Because people are trying to act like I'm a hypocrite all of a sudden because I said I wouldn't read it. But at the end of the day, like I said, I didn't fuck with Marissa before she got in the house. So I'm not all of a sudden going to fuck with her now because of how she was in the game. Because like I said, when someone comes in the game and leaves out of the game, I'm not all of a sudden following them everywhere they go just because they're black. I don't follow Josh. I don't even follow Dominique like that no more. You feel me? I'm still a dominator at heart, but I don't give a fuck. I move on to the next. That's what you do. That's how we all are as super fans. We don't really care. There's some people that still follow Davon here and there, but at the end of the day, the majority of people don't give a fuck about her either. No one really cares about Zakiya. You see what I'm saying? So that is what it is, man. That's just natural. So I just wanted to answer that question and keep it moving. Tyree Lewis, when do you think he will get an African-American winner? Technically, I've already said this. And I don't like using the term African-American because it was created by Jesse Jackson after Jesse Jackson conspired and worked with several CIA agents. And a lot of people don't know this, but he actually worked with several people to make sure Martin Luther King Jr. got assassinated. And if you don't believe me, you should probably research the topic. And that's something people really don't want me to talk about. But at the end of the day, Jesse Jackson's full of shit, and I don't fuck with him. And his son is also full of shit because I'm from Illinois, and I know for a fact that he's on the Rod Blagojevich side of the game, taking money and bribes for bullshit. So I'm going to keep it real on that note. But I don't really like the term African-American. So that's why I try to say melanoid people, melanin, people with melanin. I try to just keep it as the most simplistic form to keep us all together. Because once you say black, you leave out other people that are of color. You see what I'm saying? So basically, to get back to your question, though, what will it take for African-American to win this game? By supplanting that and replacing it with melanin, I will say we've already had melanin people win this game. We've had Josh. Even though we may have our differences, we've had Josh. Even though we may have had our differences with my theory of Derek having a huge advantage because he was a police officer and it's not fair. Same way I think Tony and Survivor had an advantage and Sarah had an advantage. I'm still going to say I believe Derek is also an African-American. He might not claim it because he has a white wife and his daughter looks white. But at the end of the day, I believe the brother, I believe he's black. I believe he is melanoid. Okay. And that is based off of looking at his features and being able to tell he's one of us. I can just tell. Okay. And yeah, you know, and anyone that can rock a Scully as much as he did in his season is black. But yeah, that's my answer to that question. We've already had melanoid winners. But if you're asking me what will it take for another melanoid winner to win, they're probably going to have to follow the Josh archetype of being a fucking buffoon and hoping people hate the person you're sitting next to more than you. I mean, because if you showcase that you're intelligent in any way, you're a bigger threat to any white person that is as intelligent or more intelligent. You know what I'm saying? So that's just what it is, man. We got to deal with the double standard if we want to play this game. All right, so I'm willing to take 4 more questions, ladies and gentlemen. Brandon F., I'm going to be the first black big brother with that's the spirit on some rocket power shit. Yeetmaster 56, who should come back this season from last season? I'm assuming you're talking about BB20, my good sir. And I'm assuming you're talking about BB19 by saying who should come back from last season. I think Christmas is going to come back. I think they want to see what she'll do without a cast. I think Paul is done for his own benefit. I think he's done. I think Josh only comes back if it's a winter season. But if I had to say anyone else, I think without a doubt it's probably going to be Kevin. I think they love Kevin. I think Kevin feels an archetype that is hard to bring back, an older man. but he's young enough to the point where you're not worried about health issues if he comes back like a Jerry. And that's the name I forgot about from Big Brother 10 last time. Thank you for all the people who corrected me and was able to go ahead and tell me who that guy was that Dan dragged to the end with Keisha and Rennie and Memphis. But yeah, it would have to be probably Kevin. That would be my go-to for the person that's most likely going to come back. And he's done a lot of mansplaining and a lot of excuses for why he followed Paul's antics, trying to blame the edit. Like, bro, we was watching them live feeds. You saw Paul put the blackface on and you didn't care. When you're old enough to be in the time. And I spoke on this in my Big Brother 19 rants, which pissed off a lot of people because everyone is like, oh, Kevin Schluber, I'm a sucking schlong, thirsty as hell. But at the end of the day, I hold people accountable no matter who you are. I don't care if you're a fan favorite or not. If you allow someone to wear blackface, knowing you're damn near 60 years old and you were around when civil rights was at its most prominent time, you may have been a baby, but at the end of the day, you grew up in an environment in Boston, Massachusetts, where you knew it was highly racist. And you were also probably part of the mob or something close to it because your pop sold drugs. So at the end of the day, you know how racist shit gets. Okay? Especially being from Boston. So for you to see the blackface, do nothing about it, it shows that you enable racist habits and racist behavior if it benefits you in this game. Then all of a sudden, everyone turns on you, and all of a sudden, you want to play the victim. No, I'm not with that shit. And you want to blame the edit. No, I'm not with that shit either, because the edit did everything they could to make you appear to be someone who wasn't enabling the racist bullshit. So if anything, you need to thank the producers. And that's my answer to that question. Kevin is full of shit, but Kevin is probably the person who will be brought back the most, even above Christmas. That's my answer. Aquarian Queen, do you think they'll ever bring a straight woke black man to the show? No. No. The reason why is because when you really look at it, have we had any straight black men that were really woke? Even Howard was a religious archetype, and no disrespect to Christians, but Christianity was how the Anglos, I'm talking from Spain and Portugal, that's how they initially took down the Moorish kingdom. Because a lot of people don't know this. And I would prescribe you all to watch a documentary series called Hidden Colors by Tariq Nasheed. In it, he talks about, and he has several different black scholars come through to give their opinions, including the goddess Frances Cress Welsing, Dr. Frances Cress Welsing. I'm sorry for fucking that up. But at the end of the day, you know, people like her who truly know her true history, okay? He brought her through. He brought several people through, like Umar Johnson, Dr. Umar Johnson. They came through and they explained at the end of the day, when the world was at its most peaceful, black people, melanoid people, people of the Moorish descent, which is the most of the people who are the indigenous people of America and most of the people who were brought by slavery ships. These people, when they were in control of society and not Anglos, not Caucasians, the world was at its most peaceful. That's not what people wanted, because when it was at its most peaceful, everyone who couldn't really stand on their own 2 feet and be an alpha male, they were put in the beta male category and they didn't have shit. Only when guns and gunpowder and cannonballs were created did anyone really have a shot of taking down the black man outside of religion, outside of Christianity itself. Once a lot of that stuff was brought to the foray, they was able to mislead us into thinking white imagery was the right imagery. Once you do that, you start hanging around us, learning the inside knowledge on how we gets down. Then they come back to their people. They establish some type of a coup d'etat. And then before you know it, black people, the entire kingdom, the entire peace that was created across the world was destroyed in about a year because of all of these people. And that's why the Spanish and the Portuguese were the main ones that dropped off black people in all of these Central and Southern America areas, because all of those areas do what? They speak Spanish. They speak Portuguese. And this is another thing other rant people won't get into because they don't know their shit. Okay? I know my shit. And that's what it comes down to. But yeah, but at the end of the day, that's how I feel about that question, and that's how I'm gonna choose to answer it. But I'm giving out so many gems in this one. You know, they might just remove this shit from YouTube all entirely. Hate speech, thirsty as hell, boy. But that's my answer to that. All right, so we got 3 questions less, ladies and gentlemen. So bring your questions in. Do you think BB20, this is from Ashley. Shout out to Ashley. I kind of wish you had had some type of a last name or a last name initial or something. That way I could single you out even more. But do you think BB20 will be all newbies? No. Because I truly believe CBS thinks that they need a returning player to bring a returning fan base of casuals. And I think they need someone who knows how this shit works to make every new player have to deal with the environment the returning player creates. And we saw that in BB19 with Paul. There was a lot of people who didn't know how the game worked, and Paul was able to push it in a certain pace and direction to make the ones who aren't going to conform get out the fucking house. I mean, the first person evicted from BB19 was like, they're bullying me. Oh, you feel what I'm saying? Let a black woman do that. She's pulling the race card. They're not bullying her, but let her be a veteran and be someone from the armed forces. Oh, we should feel sorry for her. Oh, her and her fucking blue highlights. Oh, bleach blonde. Oh, she deserves more. Oh, thirsty as hell, boy. Thirsty as hell. But when it comes time for Paul to start humiliating Cody and talk about his armed surfaces and how them shit ain't real, all of a sudden people want to say, oh, Cody should take it. He's a trained killer. Just goes to show the double standard of how people treat women and men. And also the double standard of how people were willing to let Paul get away with anything, including blackface. So that's also my answer to that question. I mean, every answer I give y'all gonna be woke tonight. I mean, fuck the bullshit. I'm shooting my shot, coach. Swish. You feel me, coach? You feel me, coach? So we got 2 more questions, ladies and gentlemen. BB Can 6 might have returnees too. Yeah, but I think they should learn from Big Brother Canada 5 and realize that only when you have all newbie seasons can you build a bigger pool of returnees to have an all-star season. The more and more you bring back people for all of these weak ass, like, oh, 2 returnees, 4 returnees, captains, all this dumb shit, you keep lessening the pool of people that will be brought back because they have to deal with a returnee in their initial season. Even Paul, who was brought back, had to deal with Nicole and Davon, and you know what I'm saying? Like, come on, James, and who else was in? And Frank Udi, you know, all that bullshit. You know what I'm saying? Let these people become their own all-stars by finding themselves in a game full of a whole bunch of people that haven't found themselves yet. That is the best season. And that's why we love the Celebrity Big Brother season as much as we did. And that's why it clearly stands out as being better than BB19, because this was all new players. Even though we all knew who they were prior, we've never seen them play prior. And that's what made the season great. So that's my answer to that question as well. You guys got 2 more questions, ladies and gentlemen. 2 more. Hit me with your best shot. Hit me with your best shot, Rocky. Yeah, it isn't fair for someone to keep coming back. I agree. Great Graham Skyle says, you are so right, young man. I sent Julie Chen and CBS and an audition tape and told them that they should be ashamed. I thought you were off base when you said it was rigged for Marissa. You were correct. I saw racism from day one. Well, I am glad that even though you may have disagreed with me, you still were open-minded enough to come back, admit that I was right. And at the end of the day, you're still willing to listen to me. Okay. A lot of people, when they figure out I'm right, they're like, oh, look at him. He is going to be all cocky now. You know what I mean? It's not about me being cocky. It's about me trying to be vindicated and trying to show you all this is why you should share these videos with all your superfan friends. We should prop ourselves up, because if I get propped up in this community as being the #1 source for Big Brother Rants, guess what? I'm going to prop up more people that look just like me. Okay. And that's why in the last rant, I went out of my way to give Rob Cesternino his respect, because he props up people. But if there's one thing I will say about Rob is he doesn't have many black people to prop up. And that's not his responsibility. That's not his obligation. And I don't hold him accountable for that. And I don't hold it against him either, because I show him his respect. But at the end of the day, it is up to us as melanoid people to prop each other up, to support each other. And while I still said I probably wouldn't read Omarosa's book, I am still open-minded enough to buy it to support her. Okay. So You got to put your money up. Your money is what's going to lead to someone doing something in this community. And I'm not asking for y'all money. Y'all showing up and watching this is good enough. Y'all sharing this with your friends is good enough. I'm not asking for money. But at the end of the day, though, it can lead to money if we help each other. And that's what it really comes down to. And that's what I really want to preach tonight during this finale episode, because y'all ain't going to see me for a while. So I want this to be the lasting image y'all remember me by. Someone who was real from the start, from the jump, at the end, at the beginning, at the middle. You know what I'm saying? No matter what I'm dealing with in my normal life, I don't bring that to this rant. I might mention what's in generalizations, what we all go through, but I never bring my personal problems to y'all because I love y'all too much to rob you of that, of that strategy talk, of that real life talk. Okay. So let's get into 2 more questions, ladies and gentlemen. You feel me, coach? What if Ghost Island ends up being bullshit, which it will? I think Ghost Island will be bullshit. I've already, and see, I'm not trying to spoil nothing to y'all, but at the end of the day, there's a specific black girl with glasses on. Okay. She looks like the nerd archetype. She's in all the trailers saying, "Oh my God, I'm so scared of what Ghost Island is." I've already been told that she's the first boot, and it's like the worst kept secret of all time. Everyone knows she's the first boot, and that's why I don't want to do rants, okay, on Survivor. Now, I went ahead and jumped the gun because I saw a finale that was just complete horseshit, and that was the first that we've seen of that specific twist, which rigged the game for Ben, the Marine. But Survivor is just not my wheelhouse because it doesn't incorporate live feeds. And see, I can't get Big Brother Canada live feeds because I'm from US. A lot of this stuff is really hard. There's a lot of hoops you got to jump through to be able to watch Big Brother Canada live feeds because it's based off geolocation and all this other shit. So it's just a lot of work for me. And that's why I don't want to really do rants on Big Brother Canada either, because I'm not going to be able to give y'all that true insider knowledge. And the more knowledge that I know, the more research I can do, the more my rants can be great and real seamless in terms of my transitioning when I talk about different things and bring them together, foreshadowing, the whole 9. It's a lot harder when I'm not really watching live feeds because now I'm just judging it based off of what everyone saw. And I'm not really bringing something different to the table outside of, well, did you notice this? And while I do predicate my rants based off that, I like to also have the live feeds to give y'all something fresh to also talk about as well. So yeah, that's my answer to that. I think Ghost Island is bound to be trash. And I think it was going to be trash. When you just look at the cast, you know it's trash. There are so many people on this cast that look like archetypes of other people. They look like clones of other people. And when you see a whole bunch of clones of other people, and then you see the only 3 melanated people on the show, you see a black guy who looks like he could be a good player, but he kind of looks like fucking Childish Gambino. So I'm not really putting all of my stakes into him as a player. Then when you find out the one girl who looks like she could be smart enough to understand the game on some Aubrey shit, the fact that she's the first boot just goes to show Aubrey wasn't the first boot. Shit. There was a lot of players who are just nerdy white women that don't become the first boot, okay? But if you're a nerdy black girl, they're going to treat you like, I forgot the name of the one girl who was the first boot 2 years in a row. Her name started with a C or some shit like that. Very smart lady, very smart. But see, she got evicted the first time for some bullshit when Rob, I forgot his name, but Boston Rob, when Boston Rob came back and he won that one season that was completely rigged for him, she was the first boot on that season. Then she comes back again for this fans versus favorite shits, and they boot her first again because they're like, well, she's been booted first before. You feel what I'm saying? It's just easy to make that choice when she's a black woman and she's been booted before. Okay, well, let's not all step on each other's toes. Let's just boot this chick. You feel me? So Survivor, while I do give it credit for being more inclusive to all races, anyone can win Survivor. They just need to be able to apply themselves, because when you're dealing with hunger and shit like that, it strips people down to who they really are, okay? And once you take materialistic values from everything, people stop caring about race and they care about who's helping them eat, who's helping them survive, who's helping them from dying out there. And sometimes that black man, most of the time that black man is the one, especially when they're separated into the 3 tribes, that black man is usually the one who's keeping everyone alive. He's usually the one keeping everyone's spirits up, because we are trained for this. We are built to handle the wilderness. We are one with animals, okay? And that's why the majority of the poachers you see are white men that don't value that wildlife. And that's what's really real. And I can't say this enough. Shannon ain't out here in these predominantly black areas of Africa helping to keep animals from poachers. She's in South Africa, the one place where it's dominated by white folks. So even she has limits to the animals she's willing to help. Interesting. So I'm going to keep it real no matter what. All right, y'all. Y'all got one more question. Make this question be good as shit. Okay. I didn't say I would do Big Brother Canada. I said I was thinking about it. Yeah. Fine print. Fine print. You feel me? Yeah, I'm with you, Kat. Kat, you know I fucks. Kat been here since BB19, man. Show her respect in that chat room. You feel me? She one of the OG triple OGs. You feel me, coach? You feel it? Dig me? Dave, get BB viewer. You can get feeds. Oh, Brandon F with the change up pitch. Oh, this could be a sign from the heavens that I need to do it. Well, I will let you all know my decision on that within the coming 7 days. I'm going to work on this audition tape after I get that shit out the way. I'm going to make a decision. I'm pretty sure Big Brother Canada doesn't start until March, right? So I got a little bit of time here to come up with a decision. So if I can get them live feeds and I can get me a real stream on Reddit to get this shit popping, I'm going to bring it to y'all because I fucks with y'all that heavy. So those are my stipulations. But because he told me about BB Viewer, I'm going to definitely look into it and I'm going to try my best to go ahead and bring that to y'all because I can tell y'all fuck with me the long way. Y'all still in this bitch. Heavy, coach. Heavy, coach. Yeah, Shannon is definitely a fraud, New Earth son. She spends all this time trying to act like she's some fucking Samaritan, some fucking humanitarian. But in reality, she has limits to what she's willing to do. And she has to be surrounded by tons of white folks to do it. Sea Queen. Guys, what shows and things in the media can Dave Randall and we need him? Hey, man, don't get me shot. Ran on too much shit. It's like, get him. No, I'm bullshitting. But yeah, though. Hey, if I disappear, y'all gonna know what it is. You feel it, dig me, coach? Hey, shout outs to Missy Miss for donating to the super chat. I truly appreciate that. I wish you would have put a message with it. I would have definitely answered the question or anything like that if you have it. If I happen to see you put anything down in the chat, I will definitely tell you something. What's up with the $5? Jaden Griffith says that is a super chat, ladies and gentlemen. If you are on your laptop or your computer, you can donate money through super chat. Now that I'm over 1,000 subscribers, you can donate money through super chat and you can tell me whatever you want. And I will be obligated to say whatever you want me to say because you're putting money behind it. But once again, I'm not doing this for money. I'm not doing this for your money. Okay, so I don't want to incentivize any of y'all to feel like, oh, that's the only way he go answer my questions if I put money up. No, I'm trying to answer your questions whether you spend nothing. Okay, and that's what's really honest. But I'm just saying that to her because she donated without me having to ask for it, and I just wanted to let her know that I would have said anything. Ghost Hunter, I have one more question to answer, so I'm gonna ask some shit. Give me some time. I'm looking for questions, ladies and gentlemen. I'm looking for questions. Looking. Richard Thomas says, do you think Big Brother can be saved racially in the 20th season? This is a good way to bookend these questions. Based off the fact that we just saw Survivor season get rigged. We just saw, I didn't even watch Amazing Race, but that was rigged. Then you add to the fact that BB19 was rigged. I don't think they have any incentive after all of these things put together to not put BB20 together to ensure the right white person wins again. Or the right person that's a buffoon wins again. Or whoever keeps conservative America happy wins. I'll just put it that way. I don't even want it to make it about color or race. It's all about making conservative USA feel good about themselves. I think it can be saved. But the only way it can be saved is if they cast people like me. You have to cast people that are entertaining. I mean, I can't say this enough. They cast black people who aren't good at confessionals. They cast colored folk who can't really weave in and out of a white community. See, for me, I went to a HBCU, ladies and gentlemen, to unveil a little bit on myself. I went to a historically black college and university. I went to Kentucky State. Shout outs to the thoroughbreds. Those are my family out there. Okay. And most of them still support me to this day. I went to a public high school, okay, full of black people. I went to a HBCU full of black people. And seeing white people be able to go to a HBCU for free just because it's an HBCU was interesting, because I wasn't able to go to a big school, even though you can clearly tell how intelligent I am. I wasn't able to go to a big school and go for free because of affirmative action, which is why a lot of people need to realize affirmative action was meant to help white people, more specifically the white woman. It wasn't meant to help black folks. Don't believe the lies. And those are one of the biggest lies that people tell. Oh, affirmative action is the only reason why you were allowed to go to that big school. Like, no. Most black people I know only go to a PWI, if you don't know, predominantly white institution. The majority of black people I know that go to them schools go to them because they believe if they get a degree there, it means more. We only believe that because psychologically we think if a black person gives us something, it's worth less. That is a natural instinct we have based off of how our ancestors were taught during the slavery times. We don't go to the black stores to buy stuff because we think the food might be going bad, or we just don't want to give him our bread, stuff like that. Okay. We need to start putting money, pumping it back into our communities. Okay. That's how we create change for ourselves. And you notice majority of my rants, I'm not here asking white folks for handouts. White folks, do something to help me. No, I'm trying to unlock the third eye in all of you, get you all conscientious and conscious enough to realize that the answer lies within us all. And if we help each other, we'll be just fine. But as long as we're this divisive, and I'm not saying us as in the people that are here, all the people that are here, you guys are showing me through action, through being here, that you're united. You know, us together are a strong faction, and it's only going to keep growing. And this is the same strong faction they don't want on Jokers. They don't want us on Survivor Sucks. They don't want us in any of these areas that are created by most likely a Zionist Jew or a white person that benefits from supremacy. And I can't stress this enough. We have so little amount of black owners, and that's because the banks don't give us loans to start a business. They just won't. They want some type of a proof that we can pay it back. But, you know, on average, most Caucasian people, they go to a bank for a loan and they'll just take their word for it. Okay. Not saying that white person don't have great credit, but at the end of the day, they probably have great credit because they're from a wealthy family, which is built from the fact that most of these wealthy families, you know, are wealthy because they have a long money from benefiting from slavery. So it all comes back to this was built off the backs of black people. When we ask for reparations, people tell us we're asking for too much. Okay, we don't want reparations. We just want a loan to build our own business and we'll pay the shit back. Then they tell us, no, we're not giving you nothing for free. You know, but hold up. Capitalism suggests you should give us this loan because we're going to stimulate the economy and create fluctuation. You know, stuff like that I talk about at a fast pace. No, I'm talking about it because I've done enough research to talk about it. Okay. They don't want us thinking like this. We become radicals, or their new term, black identity extremists. Heaven forbid you have pride and you're happy to be who you are. Now you're an extremist. That's how shit happens, man. That's how shit happens, man. But all in all, man, I went to that school, and being at HBCU taught me pride in who I am. I grew into a man, and I am truly grateful for all of the professors that I had, all of the friends that I was able to acquire up there. And it created the person you see today. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's crazy. Like, a lot of people look at me like I'm crazy when I say I'm trying to start my own business, when I'm trying to have my own company. I'm trying to trademark my own name. I'm trying to do all this other stuff. People look at me like I'm crazy because the amount of research that you have to do to even be into that realm and have those type of ambitions. You know, most of it goes over the average person's head because all they want to do is grab a blunt, grab a swisher, get high, eat something, and go to sleep. And I be trying to get my homeboys, even the ones that just want to drink or just want to smoke or all this other shit. I'm trying to get them to see better in themselves. Because if I do it by action, if I show them an example directly, then they know, oh, he grew up around me. If he can do it, I can do it. And that's really what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to show cats that grew up near me that they can do the same thing I do by watching my example. And that's why I got to keep it real every time I come on this mic. Because if I don't keep it real, then The majority of people are going to flock to someone who doesn't keep it real, who's going to coon it out. I mean, there's people talking about Black Panther like, oh, I didn't like this scene because of this. I didn't like that scene. I'm not going to get into spoilers, ladies and gentlemen. I didn't like that scene because of that. At the end of the day, people are nitpicking. The same people that will say they don't like that movie because of this and that, they'll say they like Justice League because all of the white men, all the white superheroes were attractive. You feel me? So it's not about the story making sense. It's not about the messaging, the symbolism. It's just about the fact that these are Black characters that have a purpose behind them that is bigger than them. And a lot of people don't like that. And I have a purpose in me that is bigger than just myself. It includes all of you, and it includes all the prospective people that may be watching this years from now, months from now, minutes from now. And that's how I truly feel. So long-winded answer yet again, but I don't think BB20 is incentivized to have a racially woke person on their game. Because if they have a racially woke person in their game, number one, they're going to want that person out early. But when they start seeing the amount of support that person's getting, it creates this dichotomy of them wanting them to fall on their face as hard as possible to send a message to all the people that support them. Like, look, see, this is what happened when you're extra woke. You get your ass made an example of to the point where your ass is eliminated in the most embarrassing way possible. Stuff like that happens. You know what I'm saying? And while I think CBS would revel in the idea of seeing a woke Black man fall on his face on national television, I don't think they want to even give someone like that a platform to even sway people in the American public to know that they have more power within them than they actually know. And that's my answer to that question. So now I want to get to the questions part where I ask y'all something. Outside of the Big Brother Canada 6 thing, outside of that, because we've already talked about that, my question to y'all would be, if you had to rate this season 1 to 10, and then rate BB19 1 to 10, what would you rate it? Comment below. And also, what do you think BB20's rating will be based off these 2 seasons that you just rated? That's my question to y'all. It's a long question, but basically all you got to do, BB19, what's your rating out of 10? BB Celebrity, BB Celeb, whatever the fuck you want to put, CBB US, whatever the hell you want to put, what out of 10? Then I want to hear what your prediction is for what BB20 will be. That way, all of you can come back and see how low your expectations was going to be coming to June, or you can see how high they were based off what you just saw with Celebrity coming into June. That's really the biggest question I wanted to ask. I had this on my mind during this entire rant. I had to bury it. But I think this is a great question. So I'm geeked up to look into this chat room and see what y'all think. BB19 was a 4 out of 10. Hold on. Myla Health Quest says 1 out of 10 for Celebrity Big Brother. Goddamn. Boy, you hard on him, Myla. You hard on him, coach. Damn, 1 out of 10, coach? I don't blame you, though. It's your opinion. Stand by it, coach. You feel me? Jaden, Celebrity Big Brother 5.5. Oh, damn, you brought decibels into it. It's icy out here, coach. Put on a thick thermal in this motherfucker. I know you all feel it. Oh, man, that shit's funny. Oh, man. Okay, y'all talking about some Big Brother Canada stuff. BB19 a 6, Celebrity Big Brother a 7. I think I can agree with that. BB19 had its moments where it was popping, mainly the end of it where it was popping. I think the end of it is what got it up to about a 6, but I think the journey that we traveled throughout it made it terrible, and it made it no bigger than a 6. And I think Celebrity Big Brother US in a lot of ways isn't very good, but based off how trash 19 was, we're willing to say Celebrity is so much better when reality is more of a 7. I think Ultra Don came through with probably the best rating. I'm willing to agree with you. BB19, 3 out of 10. Celebrity Big Brother, 7 out of 10. BB20, 5 out of 10. Ooh, Wonder. Damn. Wonder on that woke shit. Like, I'm not buying this shit, Code. They gonna go back to that bullshit. And so you wonder, I see where you coming from. You know production ain't shit. Cause y'all ain't shit. BB19 is like a 2. This is Jaylen Brown. BB19 is like a 2. Celebrity is like an 8, and BB20 is probably going to be the same as BB19. That's fair. If they bring anybody back, BB20 is 1 out of 10. Budgie Blue, you funny as shit, bro. Hell no. I agree. Nuclear reflex. CBS is definitely rigged, and Marissa, it shouldn't have won. If you're late to this live stream by any chance, wait for this to be on demand, and you're going to hear the whole 2 hours because we're almost at the 2-hour mark. So as it gets closer, I'm definitely going to wrap this on up because I don't want it to be above the 2-hour mark. They do need to change the layout for BB20. I agree. I need a new house layout. Yeah, I do too, man. I'm tired. It's basically the same house from Big Brother 6. And when you think about that, this shit is 13, 14 years old. I mean, it's about that time. When you look at Big Brother Canada's layout, how they change it every fucking time. I mean, they still got when you walk in, you're upstairs, you got to go downstairs to get to everything. But the way they change it up, have secret rooms and all this other shit, you know what I'm saying? It's about that time for Big Brother US to start putting some budget into their shit. Because it's looking low budget, coach. You feel it, dig me? It's like that one recreational center in every hood, you know what I mean? Where they use it as a gym, they use it as a volleyball gym, they use it as a skate rink, they use it, you know what I mean? It's like a multi-purpose facility, you know what I mean? Like, man, we need to go ahead and renovate this shit, coach. Renovate it, coach. Can I get a super chat donation? You can, I'm assuming you're talking about for your own channel. I'm assuming, in order for that to work, you have to be over 1,000 subscribers. That's the only way you can enable super chat. That's my answer to that. Now, if you mean, can you super chat donate to me? You would have to be on a computer. Well, actually, I think you could just, no, never mind. On your phone, you could just tap the little $sign right there by the chat as whoever you are. There's a little $sign. You could do it on your phone now. I'm tweaking. But that's my answer to that. Oh, he donated. Oh shit, my bad, April. He donated. Damn, I'm tweaking, coach. Shout outs to Jay Dunn for donating them 10 slugs. I ain't even noticed. I ain't know you donated that Sawbuck. I didn't see you, coach. My bad, coach. Why ain't none of y'all putting a message with y'all shit, though? You feel me, coach? I would definitely answer something. I'm sorry about that, Jay Dunn. I did not see that, coach. I did not see that. But that's my way of saying that to you, though. But yeah, Ashley know about Kentucky State. You feel it, dig me, coach? The thoroughbreds, man. We run shit out that way. It's sad to hear that the infrastructure up there and the people who's been running stuff from the top down has made it much less as popping as it used to be. Used to be able to just walk around and enjoy yourself. Now, you know what I'm saying, they won't let you do nothing on campus no more. It's basically a community college. But shout outs to you, Jay Dunn. Shout outs to you, man. Young King. And shout outs to Missy Mist one more time for her donation as well. I truly appreciate it, man. Y'all are really y'all making me emotional, man. I'm gonna pull a Shannon. Oh shit. You know what? This is a funny question. If you get to eat the ass of any Big Brother player, which one are you picking? Hey man, listen. I don't eat ass, okay? So let me preface everything I say by saying that. To me, nah, bro. I ain't never love a lady that much to go ahead and go to a pie hole. You feel it, dig me, coach? But if we just talking about eating, you know what I'm saying, the normal way, the way I was taught to eat. You feel what I'm saying, coach? You know, the natural way, if you will. How do you not choose Zakiya? How? Honestly. I mean, at the end of the day, it's so easy to be like, oh, man, Zakiya, she fuck with a white dude. I ain't fucking with her, man. She into that swirling shit. I don't really give a fuck about that. If we just talking about former house guests, who would get the tongue action first? Okay? Who would get the John Woo stronghold? You feel me? It's got to be Zakiya, bro. And I ain't trying to simp on Zakiya. It's just that, I mean, and honestly, I'm going to be honest with y'all. I didn't notice Omarosa's badonka-donk until tonight. Okay, she do got a cannon back there, coach. She do got it, okay? I was wrong, but I still think Zakiya's, though. I still think it was, man, And when it first got unveiled, I was like, I've been waiting for this moment all night. But no, I'm bullshitting. But this has been the finale episode of Recency Bias Radio, where no one is safe from criticism. Welcome to Rig, brother. I truly appreciate all of you who have come through and shown your love. It has been 2 full hours. And frankly, I got to get to work in the morning. But I truly appreciate every single one of you who has shown up tonight. I appreciate every single one of you who has been here since the beginning. I'm talking since I had 0 subs. You feel me? Back when I didn't even know what I wanted to do, but I just felt the need to talk about how black men were being blackballed. We came a long way from there. It's only been about 7 months, 8 months since I started. So we are on a collision course path to starting and making some real waves out here. Before you know it, we'll be trending on YouTube. You just never know, ladies and gentlemen. So I truly appreciate every single one of you. Whether you donate or don't donate, that doesn't matter to me. You being here to support me is a donation to me. And that's how I truly feel. So I want to say thank you all for being here along for this ride. I will try my best to be here for Big Brother Canada so we can get shit popping once again. And Brandon F., we gonna have to do a draft for that shit because we didn't do a draft for this one, okay? And since you told me about the whole BB viewer shit, I feel like it's only right that you're involved in this, okay? So we're gonna put some shit together, ladies and gentlemen, and we're gonna try to bring you more content that you can be proud of in only the way that Recency Bias Radio knows how to. I am your humble host, Dave Smith, and this is Recency Bias Radio. And I hope all of you have a blessed spring. Until Big Brother Canada comes around, have a blessed spring, because I will be here to bless you all with some more tea to be scalding. You feel me? But I hope you all have a great night. I hope you get your tax refunds. I hope you spend it wisely. But most importantly, I hope you start supporting black businesses. And if you don't know, there is an app called the Bob Spotter app where you can actually know about other black businesses. And this app will put you on game, and you could start keeping that money in our community so we can start self-empowering and self-employing ourselves. So that's the last message I want to leave you with. I'm Dave Smith, and I hope you have a great night.